You have been asking me to compare the operating systems on different phones. I picked the top 6 operating systems. The phones I'm using are iPhone 16 with iOS 18, Galaxy S24, which is upgraded to the latest OneUI 7 beta, Pixel 9 with Android 15, Xiaomi 15 with HyperOS 2, OnePlus 13 with ColorOS 15, and Vivo X200 Pro with OriginOS 5. Starting with the lock screen, iOS is quite customizable. You can, for example, add widgets to the lock screen, like battery, weather, and other things. You can also change the mood and colors of the wallpaper or change the icons on the left and right sides down there. The OneUI 7 looks very similar to iOS 18. You can change and add widgets to the lock screen. You can also change the colors and mood of the wallpapers. Android 15 on Pixel 9 does not offer much, which is a bit sad since we had these features back in Android 4. You can change the clock a bit and the colors of the lock screen, together with clock font. Of course, you can also change the wallpaper, but that's pretty much it. On Xiaomi 15 and HyperOS 2, there are some present wallpaper styles. There are also some options to change the style of the weather widget, clock, and calendar, or to completely remove them. For example, you can blur the background, which is similar to what iOS does automatically for home screen. ColorOS 15 on OnePlus 13 has the coolest default wallpapers, and I love how they look. But when it comes to other customizations, it is non-existent. I think you can download an app or something to change it, but at least here, I couldn't find any setting. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. The Vivo X200 Pro with OriginOS 5 approach is very similar to those of the iPhone and Galaxy. You can add standard widgets, which are almost identical to how you edit them for iOS and OneUI 7. Moving to the notification center, each of them has their own way of accessing the notifications. On iOS, nothing will happen if you swipe things from the middle of the screen. This is not a big issue on smaller phones, but I have a bit of a trouble reaching anything on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. If you swipe from the top bar from the left side, the notification will appear, but you should really swipe it down, otherwise it will go back. From the right side, you will go to the setting. OneUI 7 also has changed its way of being more similar to Apple. Now, if swipe down from anywhere on the home screen, you will get to the notification center. If you swipe from the top on the right side, you will get to the quick setting. And if you swipe from the left side, you will gain access to your notifications. Android 15 on Pixel still behaves as before. If swipe from anywhere on the phone, on the home screen, and from the left or right side of the toolbar, you get to the notification center plus the quick setting regardless of where you do it. Xiaomi and HyperOS 2 are almost identical to iOS 18. From the left side, you will get to the notification center, and from the right side, you will get to the setting. The only difference is that you can swipe from anywhere down on the home screen. OnePlus 13 and ColorOS 15 are identical to Xiaomi. The left is for notifications, and the right is for the settings. Vivo and OriginOS 5, on the other hand, are implemented similarly to OneUI, or maybe rather, OneUI is implemented like Vivo. When you swipe it from anywhere, you get to the notification center. If you swipe from the top left, you go to the notification center. From the right, you go to the setting. Regarding interaction with notifications, the one on iOS does not make much sense to me. If you swipe things from left to right, you can still go to the next tab, which is confusing. If you swipe from right to left, you first see the options for the notifications, and if you continue to swipe, the notification will disappear. For OneUI 7, it is more simple. If you swipe it from left or right, the notification will disappear. The same goes for Android 15 on Pixel 9, and the implementation on both Pixel and Samsung phones are the same. The same goes for HyperOS on Xiaomi. ColorOS 15 is different. If you swipe from right to left, you get the remove and settings. But if you swipe from left to right, you can get rid of the notification. OriginOS also has a similar implementation, but you have more options when you swipe from right to left. What is consistent in all of them is that if you swipe from the top on the right side, you go to the quick setting. The quick settings on all Chinese phones look suspiciously similar to iOS. For example, the volume and brightness icons are almost identical, as in the music section. OneUI 7 also looks more similar to iOS than ever, but it still has its own character, and Google Android 15 is doing its own thing. One thing that I don't like about the iPhone and never got used to it is that there is no categorized volume center. So, if you try to volume things up or down, you should do everything together. On all other Android phones, you have a version of it that you can just change the volume per category. The one on Android 15 on Pixel 9 is the most comprehensive, but pretty much all of them offer a similar version that looks like the one on Android 14. Changing the wallpaper on iOS is straightforward. You can hold the main screen, edit, select an image as a wallpaper, or select an existing theme. On Galaxy, you can do more customizations, but one option that I really wish did exist is that you would blur the background on the home screen like on iOS for better visibility of icons. Let me know in the comments if I can do it somehow. The one on Google is also similar. I just feel there could be more variety in the wallpapers. HyperOS and ColorOS give access to a very nice library of wallpapers, and you can give depth to them so the picture goes behind the clock, for example. The one on Vivo is the most cluttered. You must first go to the mood cube, select wallpaper, and then set one. Even though it is the most cluttered, it gives the most customization in my experience, but it's also complicated, and you can get lost. This is a theme in general. The more customization, the more complicated things become, which is nice for power users, but is also overwhelming for normal users. All of them give the option to add a widget, and all of them have the most important widgets, like the weather on the operating system pre-installed. And they all suspiciously look similar. Frankly, I don't know who copied who, but I'm sure one of them did it first, and the rest followed. Write in the comments who did this first. When it comes to the animation of opening and minimizing an application, they do things slightly differently. For example, on iOS and OneUI, it feels like a zoom in from bottom to top, but on Android 15, it feels like icons are dropping from the top. All three Chinese OS also behave similar to Apple, where the icons come from bottom to top like a zoom-in animation similar to iOS and OneUI 7. So pretty much Android 15 based on Pixel 9 is the only one that is behaving slightly differently. The opening of recent app gestures is similar to all of them. You can swipe from the bottom to the right side to open recent apps. On iOS 18, all the tabs appear above each other. I'm not saying Samsung copied Apple, but OneUI 7 is suspiciously similar to iOS 18. The only difference is that there is a close all button. On Google Android 15, everything appears like pages next to each other, which is also my preferred one. Xiaomi and HyperOS, in my humble opinion, have the worst implementation of this gesture, where you really have to swipe it from it to appear, and you can just do a quick gesture. The tabs appear to each other in a grid format. ColorOS 15 on OnePlus is similar to the Android stock, but you can also see the icons and the selected apps is slightly larger. The Vivo implementation is similar to Xiaomi's, and of course each of them has its own animation, and they are all unique. The only similarity I would say is between OneUI and iOS and HyperOS with OriginOS. I'm really curious what you think so far. What's your favorite? Also, right now we are at 27,000 subscribers. It would be great if by the end of the year we can hit 30,000 subscribers. So please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. The next comparison is the camera app, where I spend a lot of time. I know the camera is just an app, but 99% of people use the default camera app on their phones. All of them have multiple modes. On iOS, you can access all of them at the bottom. On OneUI 7, there are a few default ones like portrait, video, and photo. The rest are hidden in more sections. On Pixel Android 15, all of them are at the bottom, with the difference that you can also change between photo and video mode separately. The ones in Chinese like HyperOS, ColorOS, and OriginOS are similar to the ones on OneUI, where few modes are visible by default, and if you want more options, you can click on more. You can also, of course, add anything in the more sections to the default one. If you want to change important settings like the frame rate or resolution, it is often on the top right corner, except for Pixel Android 15, which is in the top left corner and has a separate setting bottom down there. Also, OneUI Samsung got rid of most of the settings and put all of them on the tiny corner, as you can see on top of the selfie switch icon. In my opinion, it is not a bad thing because the UI is now less cluttered On the other hand, accessing things like the timer is more complicated. Almost all of them have a Pro mode, where you can change your shutter speed, exposure, ISO, and other settings. The exceptions would be Pixel 9, Android 15, and iOS 18, for which these modes do not exist, and you have to rely on third-party apps like Blackmagic. Let's go to the setting. Interestingly enough, the ones on ColorOS, HyperOS, and OriginOS looks almost identical to iOS 18. Even some icons are the same. At least OnePlus didn't make it too obvious and change the icons. OneUI 7 and Android 15 are more similar. There is no call to action arrow at the end, and there is a small description of the setting under each section. Even the animations on the bottom of HyperOS, ColorOS, and OriginOS are identical to the animations on iOS. All of them have their own unique weather apps. I'm surprised they didn't fully copy each other. They all place some kind of animations to show the weather conditions, but each shows a certain aspect of the weather. Also, they all show a summary of the day and the week ahead on their main page. You probably heard me complain a lot about iOS. I actually did a video explaining why I have issues with iOS compared to Android, which you can watch next. Thanks for tuning into TechMo, and I will see you in the next one.